Alright, so today we're gonna tell a turd and fart adventure. And because usually you guys are sleeping, we're gonna do it in the dark. So anyways, Turd and Fart go to the zoo. Alright, one sunny day, it was mid-July, and Turd and Fart were running around, they were running around the house, and they were sitting there, just being mad, Turd and Fart and Riss, they're all running around, playing baseball, and every time Turd touches the ball, he gets poop all over it because he didn't have his gloves on. And Fart's like, "Hey, every time you touch this baseball, you get shit all over it." And he's like, "What do you want me to do, man? Just pitch the ball to me so I can hit it." And Riss is out in the field, and he's like, "Are we playing baseball, or are we just gonna sit here and argue?" And their mama got so sick and tired of hearing it, she said, "Alright, boys, today we're going to the zoo." So anyways, she takes them to the zoo, gives them their money. She says, "Alright, here's $2 for food, and here's the $5 to get in. Now I'll be back at 7 o'clock to pick you up." And they're like, "Oh, sweet shit, let's get out of here." And while Turd and Fart was distracting, Mom, Riss was in there. He was sneaking in her purse, taking out a few 20s. He's like, took that out, and they get out, and they're like, "See ya." And he's like, "Hey guys, look, I got some money, man." They're like, "Where'd you get that from?" And Riss is like, "Well, it just fell right out of Mama's purse. Let's see that." And Fart is like, No, I saw you steal that, you son of a bitch." and they're like, "Well, why don't we just go into the zoo and we'll spend it on candy?" So they go in there, pay $5, Fart was the first one in line, and everyone out there in line is like, "Damn, it smells like shit around here." And they're looking at Turd. Turd's like, "Hey, what the fuck you looking at, man? That's this fart cloud over here smelling like that. I put cologne on this morning." And Riss, every time he walks next to a dog, the dog wants to lift his leg on him, so he lifts his leg back on him. So, he's in there, they're looking at him, and they're telling him, looking at these animals, and they're like, Turd's got his face up against the glass, he smears poop all over the glass, and they're like, "Hey, man, somebody's got to clean that shit up." Turd's like, "Not me." And, every time he touches it, because he didn't wear his gloves. Normally he has his gloves on, from the stories we tell. So, anyways, Turd and Fart are running around there, and, they're touching the glass and getting poop and pee all over everything, and fart smells on everything, and people are like, "Damn, man, there's something wrong with the zoo." And then Turd and Fart decided they wanted to play a game of tag. So Fart walks up and he slaps Turd in the face and he says, "Tag, you're it, dumbass." And he starts running, he starts running around. Ah. Well, guess who tags him? Of course, Turd tags him back, slaps him right in the face back. Big old poop smear all over his face and his lips. And he's like, "You son of a bitch, I'm going to get you." And he's like, "No, you're not." And they're running around and all of a sudden, bam, bum, 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 all three of them run into who? But Bartholomew. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? You guys do not run into me." And they're like, "Run, run, run." And he's running. And he's like, "Oh no, he's going to catch us." And Turd trips, and he's in the lead, and he falls, and farts and turds and Riss everywhere, splatting all over the walls and everything. Everybody's getting sick because they got poops on them and stuff. They're throwing up everywhere, so they leave. They close down this zoo, right? Turd, Fart, and Riss, they don't leave because they're afraid Bartholomew, he's waiting outside to kick their ass, and he's like, they're like, "Did he leave yet?" No. Looks like he's getting back up. That's diarrhea coming. Yep, diarrhea's coming. So he calls up his girlfriend, Diarrhea. So Bartholomew and diarrhea. They hate turd, fart, and wrist. Every chance they can, they make their lives miserable. So, anyways, they're out there hiding around, and they see these caretakers, how they treat these animals after hours, right? They're out there, the lion tamer's feeding the lion and cracking his whip on him. He's like, hey, you can't do that to the animals. And he's like, I'll do it to whoever I want. I'll do it to a piece of shit like you. And he cracks his whip, smacks old Turd, poop flies everywhere, you know. And then Riss is like, hey, you can't do that to my brother. And he walks up, and Riss is right in his face. And then when the guy goes to chase after him and starts screaming, Fart gets in there and gets a big old whiff of fart in his mouth and everything. He starts throwing up and runs off. But the rest of the zookeepers, they didn't really much like their jobs. They didn't like the animals neither, you know. I don't know why they work in a zoo if they didn't like animals. But they treated the animals pretty crappy. And by pretty crappy, I mean pretty shitty. And when I say shitty, I mean worse than Turd and Fart and really shitty. So they was made up a little plan. They stuck around and sat there, waited for all the zookeepers to leave. And then they went in and got into every animal. The first they went over to the lion. And they let the lions and the tigers and the bears out. And they were like, roar! And at first they were going to attack Turd and Fart. But just as the lion was about to pounce on him, Fart gave him a whiff of what he was working with. And that lion was like, roar! He wasn't the king of the jungle no more. He was running and hiding and scared. None of the other animals would hurt him, even the mean ones, because it was Turd, Fart, and Wrist, and they didn't want any of that shit all over them, you know. So, they went to the monkey's cage, you know, and monkeys are notorious for pooping in their hands and throwing it at people. If you ever been to a zoo, you might have seen it. Maybe you didn't. But most monkeys, they'll poop and they'll throw it at you. So Turd farting got in there, and them monkeys is like, running around, you know. And one monkey starts digging in his ass, you know, and he's like, they start laughing. He's like, look at that monkey, he's scratching his ass. And, you know, and Riss is like, that's right, and he's a bare-ass monkey too. Yep. And they're like, look at that. And Turd's like, what a dumbass. And that monkey took a handful of shit and he threw it right at Turd and splattered it on him. He's like, what? Oh shit, you want to play rough, huh? So he starts digging into himself, throwing himself at every monkey. Soon it's like a food fight in a cafeteria, but it's a poop fight going back and forth, you know, and the monkeys are jumping around, running, you know, doing all that stuff. And like I said, they're all bare-ass monkeys, you know, so they ain't got hair down there, they just got the bare ass. Anyways. So, you know, the monkeys, they're all running around because it's a losing battle. They can't poop as much as Turd. He's made out of poop, you know. And Bart, he went up into the ventilation shaft, you know, and he snuck him from behind. And Riss, when he was running away, all them monkeys trying to get away, he got up underneath them and he slipped and fell in a bunch of more poop. Yeah, the monkeys were mad. But then they decided, well, why don't we go over to the lemurs, you know. Let them loose, you know, the lemurs swimming in the ocean. And so they go over there and they let them out, and the lemurs are jumping around, but they don't want, they're happy, but they don't want to, you know, get too close to Turd, Fart, and Wrist. So what they do is they turn around and run the other way. Finally, Turd, Fart, and Wrist let almost all of the animals out, and then all of a sudden, Bart's like, hey, Turd, Rich, you hear something? They're like, no. He's like, listen real closely. You hear something? They're like, no, I don't hear nothing. He's like, listen real closely now. Be quiet. Wow, that was a double whammy. I got it in both of your noses. And they're like, you son of a bitch. They start kicking his ass real bad, you know. Riss is stomping on him, on his potty goers. And Fart keeps shoving his hands down his throat, trying to reach his tonsils. Or Turd keeps shoving his hands down his throat, trying to reach his tonsils. And they're slapping him up, you know. And by this time, they're really late. They'd done forgot about time. And Mama said she'd be there at closing time. They've been there for hours. So now they see a bunch of flashing lights. And they're worried. They're like, oh no, Mama gonna kick our ass. So they devised this big old plan. They're like, alright, let's say we got lost. Alright, we gotta come up with a plan. Riss is like, I got a plan. I know what to do. And Turd's like, you shut up and listen to me, boys. And so they sit down and listen. They're like, we ain't got much time, guys. And Riss is like, I know. And Turd's like, hey, Riss, you remember that time you flushed me down the toilet at school? He's like, oh no, you don't want to do that again. It took us 2 whole weeks to find you and all that mess. That's our only option. Mama gonna beat us to death if you don't. So they all sat there. They all got in the toilet and they're like, well, who's gonna be the one to hit the switch? And Fart's like, I'm too short. And Rich is like, well, I can't reach it either. And Turd, he could reach it. He had to get out of the toilet, climb up on the seat, and he kept leaving little poop prints everywhere he went. And he gets up there, and he reaches in, and he pulls that handle, and it was like this. He's like, I got it. Oh, I almost got it. And he was like, almost. And they jumped in. They went down. We go, oh! And they went down the toilet. And they're like, and they come out. And they was in the sewer system, and it was real dark in there. And there was funny noises. And it smelled kind of good in there, Turd, Fart, and Rest, kind of like home or something. The home away from home they'd never been to. And they was like, They're like, you scared, Turd? Nah, I ain't scared. You scared, Fart? No, I ain't scared. You scared, Rest? Hell no, I ain't scared. Little did any of them know they was all scared because they'd never been there and they saw this light. They kept trying to walk towards that light. It seemed like every time they got to that light, it just never got bigger. It never got bigger, then it got a little bigger. And they was like, oh, we better, I bet you that light leads out. What was that? Was that you, Turd? No, I thought it was you. Risk, quit! I'm not playing no more Risk. Better quit. It ain't me. You just touched me, Turd. And then all of a sudden, they got closer to the light. Closer to the light, and then all of a sudden, I'm opening the door real fast. You boys, I'm gonna whip your ass. I know you flushed yourself down the toilet. You're like, no, mama. We accidentally got flushed down the toilet. And she was like, yeah, right. I know you did. I went in there and I heard you guys talking outside the bathroom. And I let you do it. You learned something? And of course, Fart's like, yeah, next time we flush ourselves down the toilet, make sure you're not listening. And she's like, okay, boys, let's go home. Wasn't that a good one? I miss you guys. I love you. I hope you're being good. That was your Turd and Fart adventure. That's 15 minutes, okay? I love you guys.